The Fife mother who wants to see a new inquiry into her son's sudden death 14 years ago. Colin Marr died at home in 2007 from a single blow by a kitchen knife. He'd had a row with his fiancée about his alleged infidelity. His fiancée and the police said he took his own life. But now, 10 years after an inconclusive fatal accident inquiry, Colin's mother and stepfather want officers from outside Scotland to re-examine the circumstances of their son's death and the investigations that followed. You may find some pictures at the beginning of Stephen Godden's report upsetting.
This was Colin Marr's flat on the night he died. An engagement ring discarded in the kitchen, a knife lying a few feet from his body on the living room floor. 14 years on, that July evening is seared in his mother's memory.
I jumped out of the car and went down to the house, and there was just really people mulling about pandemonium, and his fiancée was running about saying that Colin had stabbed himself.
Fife police said it was an open and shut case of suicide. The couple had a row, his fiancée broke off their engagement and, distraught, Colin plunged a knife into his own chest. But that conclusion, which meant no forensic investigation took place, quickly began to trouble Colin's family.
So here you have this very, very rare death treated as a non-shot suicide without any investigation. And it's just unbelievable in itself. And yeah, on the time we just accepted everything we're told.
Retired detective Tony Whittle is one of a number of experts they asked to review the case.
Basic training for all detectives, and I am involved in training detectives, from the junior officers right up, is that if you've got a suspicious death, that's an unexplained death, the doctor's not said why that person's died, you treat that as suspicious in the first instance, and you investigate it until you've either eliminated suspicion or you've confirmed it. That's so basic, I can't understand how anyone of any rank could say, let's just accept the first story we're told and move on.
By the time a fatal accident inquiry was held in 2011, 4 years after Colin's death, prosecutors and Fife police had apologised for failings in the initial investigation, but the FAI was inconclusive, the sheriff ruling there wasn't enough evidence to determine the cause of the fatal wound. A year later, officers from Strathclyde Police carried out a cold case review. But Colin's family say their questions have never been answered. They've lost faith in the Crown Office and the police and want the case looked at by another police force outside Scotland.
Nobody should lose their life like that and then not lead a proper investigation and everything gets swept under the carpet. It's just not right. It isn't humane.
One of the people to give evidence at the FAI 10 years ago was Colin's fiancée, Candice Bonner. The sheriff said her account of Colin's death didn't suggest a lack of truthfulness, and afterwards she said the process had cleared her name. What Colin did, she said, he did to himself, and that's the truth.
The Crown Office point to the conclusions of numerous independent experts being accepted by the sheriff at the FAI. Both they and Police Scotland say any new material relevant to the death of Colin Marr would be considered. Stephen Godden, reporting Scotland.